Welcome to the ECMA Artist Spotlight. I'm your host, Consuela Bastrash. Joining us today, we have Nomad Quinn. Welcome, Nomad.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much for coming. So you're a busy guy, right?
Pretty busy, yeah.
You got lots of stuff on the go?
Got a lot of different avenues to cover because we are here both as, I'm here as an artist, but also as a media personality. As an artist, I like she said, I go by Nomad Quinn. I'm a hip hop artist, but I also do, like other genres and like mix things up and do different styles and all that. But we also run the NS Hip Hop page based out of Nova Scotia, which we use to promote local artists. And we're trying to, use that to build a bigger platform and kind of a springboard for artists in Nova Scotia.
And perfect. And it's to help local musicians. So is there any particular genre, or I suppose it would be mainly hip hop, right, is what you guys promote on that website?
Yeah, but we definitely do promote more than just that because we also like use like we post like adjacent, like people who say work with hip hop artists a lot. Like for example, like Brett Matthews, we posted because he's a frequent collaborator of Classified and just that type of thing. Because we do want to mainly show love to hip hop artists, but we don't want to also box ourselves in and like limit ourselves at the same time.
And do you find the music scene in Nova Scotia is growing at this point?
Oh, definitely. And especially in Cape Breton, which is where I'm from. Like I said, like Brett Matthews, like he's from Cape Breton and he's just been like going crazy up in Halifax and doing like stuff with a lot of big artists. Someone else is like Elise Aaron, if you know her.
Yeah.
Like she's been doing great things, and like I'm sure there's so many others that I just can't think of off the top of my head, but there's a lot of people doing great things. So
excellent. And where do you pull your inspiration from when you're creating music?
Well, I grew up listening to a lot of rap, thanks to my dad, but I also listened to like a lot of rock, just on my own accord, especially like pop punk bands and stuff, like Simple Plan, Green Day, and things like that. And also like classic rock because my grandfather was always playing. There were so many different musical influences just within my family alone that it was hard for me to just stick to one thing. My mom would play like some, she likes rap too, but she likes other stuff and put me on like some pop stuff and like some country, like some old Taylor Swift, and things like that.
So because you've got some heavier music interests, how do you find that impacts and influences your rap performances?
Well, like I was kind of alluding to, is like I am primarily a hip hop artist, and hip hop is definitely like the genre that is me. Like hip hop is me, I am hip hop. But I love so many other genres that I want to like kind of incorporate that, you know what I mean? Like I'll have songs where I'm just straight up like making like a screamo rock song, or like an acoustic ballad, or like a EDM like trance type of song. Like there's just like so many different things, or like just a straight up like pop record for the radio. And like I really just like to take all the influences that all the music that's influenced me my whole life, like growing up since I was a kid, and just like put that into what I'm doing. Because I feel like when you have so many different things that inspire you like that, it's kind of a waste to limit yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I don't want to feel, and a lot of artists like will complain about that too, especially like really popular artists. Like, and some people might hear it who like maybe don't make music and they are just like fans. You know what I mean? They hear artists say things like they don't want to be boxed in, and they kind of like roll their eyes because it's like, what does that even mean? It's like, it means because like a lot of these artists, a lot of like your favorite artists out there want to like branch out, but a lot of them are scared. But at the same time, it's like the music industry today has been changing in a positive direction. You see people like Post Malone, who like started off doing hip hop and he kind of branched out, started doing like folk and like pop rock and like all these different stuff. Like Taylor Swift has like a different genre every album at this point.
Yes, that's true.
So it's definitely becoming more of a widely accepted thing, but I still feel like there are still artists that really get kind of boxed into one thing. Like they do come out and do one thing really good, and people expect, like they only want to hear that from them.
Right.
And I never want to let that happen to me. So I try to like just from the get-go make it clear like, hey, I do this, but I also do this, and this. And if you don't like this, and this, that's still here if that's what you enjoy. But I'm also doing this for the other people who enjoy that. And it might be a smaller number of people, but at the same time, I'm not really doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. And if other people like it, that's just a bonus.
Terrific. And how long have you been involved in the music industry?
We'd be on a semi-professional level. We'd be coming up on 10 years this year.
Wow.
I was writing little, like raps in like my notebook at school and stuff for like since I was like 13, 12. But like in 2014 is when I recorded my first professional tracks.
Right.
I went, and then later on in that year, I started going to what was known at the time as Harbor Drive Studio, which was a recording studio ran by Sean Lewis back in Cape Breton. He's one of my closest friends, especially in the music industry. He's an incredibly talented musician, but he was getting into he was getting into audio engineering, and we kind of just like connected through a mutual friend. So I went and recorded my first stuff then. I wasn't good. I sucked. But he stuck it out with me, and like I got better and improved over time, and like we kind of grew together, you know what I mean? Like as a team, you know, and almost as a mentor, because he's like also a musician before audio engineer. He was in like bands and stuff growing up and stuff and blah blah blah. So
and how do you feel like your sound has evolved over the last 10 years?
I think when I first started out, I was really into the pure, like hip hop, purist lane, you know, like I wanted to make like 90s boom bap type of stuff. And just like, I didn't want to deviate from that. And I wanted to have like conscious lyricism all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that, obviously, but like, I was really pretentious about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like there was a pretentiousness to it, because I would kind of like almost, and this was definitely like a common thing and still is today within the hip hop community, but there was like a pretentiousness in the sense that like, I kind of almost looked down on like the music that wasn't as lyrical or wasn't as, you know, like just focused on pure raps. And like when auto-tune started becoming like a widespread use thing in the industry, I was kind of like eye rolling. But that's the biggest change I would say for me in terms of my evolution, is that I grew to accept that the music industry is ever changing. And you don't have to like it per se, but you need to accept it and you need to adapt to an extent. I'm not saying you have to completely change everything and use things that you're not comfortable with or you don't like, but you do to an extent need to kind of change and adapt with the industry as it goes. You know what I mean? I think that's like the most important thing that I took from like that area of my life to where I am now. Because like I said, like I realized that I was being silly boxing myself into this one thing when I could be doing so much more.
And you're going to perform a song for us today, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Tell us about that.
So this song is called Stars. I wrote it about a breakup a few years ago. A girl named Vic Molina, she's a very talented singer from the US, is featured on the hook. Yeah, that song meant a lot to me then. It still means a lot to me now. You know, I can listen to it without getting sad now. That's always good.
Good.
So, but yeah, there's that song definitely has a special place in my heart. I'm excited to share it with you.
Excellent. Well, we're excited to hear it. Thank you so much for stopping by today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Are we staring at the same stars right now? It feels like I'm falling in love with you. Are we staring at the same stars right now? It feels like I'm falling in love with you.
Yeah. Guess I never really changed since the start, huh? Scared of heartbreak, so I break hearts now. Never wanted to be seen as a villain, but my heart been pillaged, so I guess I play the part now. Once again, I don't went and let my guard down. Never learned from my past mistakes. Say I don't need love, cause it's just hardship. Once again, jumped in just to feel this pain.
Are we staring
At the same stars right now.
feels like I'm
Falling in love with. And I'm sorry that I was too abrasive. The worst of me came out on more than one occasion. Wish that I could go back to make changes, but I made my bed, now it's time to lay in it. Don't recognize the person I once was. Don't know why I continue to give trust. It's a cycle that I just can't escape from. Don't wanna feel this way, so I stay numb. Staring at the same stars right now. Feels like I'm falling in love with you. thought of you forgetting me, it really kills me inside. But there's no room for pity this time. Just want you to know how sorry I am before I flip the page on the story of mine.
Are we staring at the same stars right now? Feels like I'm falling in love with you.
Welcome to the ECMA Artist Spotlight. I'm your host, Consuela Bastrash, and here with me today is Darcy Scott. Welcome, Darcy.
Hey, Night, thanks for having me.
Excellent. So you've been singing and songwriting for how long now?
I've been really kind of doing my own thing since 2019, but been playing music my whole life. I was a drummer right from a young age, playing in rock bands and stuff like that, and then really kind of fell in love with folk music the past few years, and been doing it, yeah.
Excellent. And do you write a lot of your own music?
Yeah, pretty much everything that I play. I've been getting into a lot of co-writing recently, so that's a great way to get, you know, I have a space where I'm very comfortable when it comes to songwriting and kind of creating music, and I think in order for me to, or, you know, a help to get out of that comfort zone is just writing with other people, like, you know, write with a pop artist, write with a rock artist, and I think just like kind of building up a repertoire of songs like that, you know, at the end of the day, they're all going to be folk songs when you get up with your acoustic guitar and play them.
Right.
But I think it's something really cool that I've really kind of been gravitating towards for this next project and next songs to come, yeah.
Where do you come up with your inspiration?
Oh, geez, that's a really good question. I think it's just kind of everything around you. You know, I'm a big, love watching just people, just do stuff, just eavesdropping and just kind of seeing what's happening. You know, a lot of songs start from things that I just kind of see in my day-to-day life or things that I experience. And just kind of on the fly, I'll just jot something down in my notes app and, you know, maybe bring it up later that night when I have time to reflect or think on it. I think a lot of the great songs for me that I end up writing kind of come months after an event or something occurs, you know, the ones that I kind of pour my heart into, because I need time for that to kind of digest a little bit.
Right.
But I think just day to day, just living and, you know, getting out to these things, coming to the East Coast Music Awards, traveling to a new place, there's so much more inspiration to be had. You know, you're kind of getting out of your normal routine. So it's been really, real nice.
Excellent. So you had recently released your own EP, is that correct?
Yeah, I put that out in June of 2023. And I was super fortunate to take home the Music NL Folk Roots Artist of the Year with that.
Yes,
and we worked
congratulations.
super hard on it, you know, me and the team of people I was surrounding myself with. And I think in Newfoundland especially, we're all there to pick each other back up. So, you know, I thank the whole industry back home kind of for their support on that.
Yeah, and you've kind of branched out, and have you collaborated with other artists outside of Newfoundland?
Yeah, so I was super fortunate. I did a Lunenburg Folk Harbor songwriting workshop last summer, and I met some of like my favorite songwriters on the East Coast. And I think, yeah, we've been in contacts and stuff like that. I'm hoping, you know, if anyone comes to Newfoundland, they can sleep in my basement and we can play some shows together. And I think vice versa, you know, if I come to their home turf and stuff like that, I think we can put off a great show and kind of collaborate on that regard, yeah.
Excellent. And do you have anything coming up that you wanted to tell us about?
Yeah, so I am working on some new music now. So, you know, if anyone's watching, feel free to follow Darcy Scott Music on Facebook, Instagram. I'm trying to be as active as possible, kind of take people along the journey with me as I kind of create some new things. And I'm hoping to have an album out in 2025 and some singles out soon. So,
terrific.
Yeah.
And how important is social media and interacting with fans to your music and to building your following?
I think right now it's like there's no better time to be an artist because you know, having tools like social media, you can put anything out there. And there is a little bit that's driven kind of by word of mouth, but a lot of it is like the algorithm. Use the hashtags, get your music out in front of people that, you know, would never hear you otherwise. And I think it's the possibility for growth in this day and age, and especially now in the music industry, is real special, having those tools.
Yeah, and is being a musician something that you've always wanted to do, or is it something in 2019 that you kind of stumbled into?
Yeah, so like I said, I was drumming in rock bands for years. I always loved music, and you know, even from 3 years old, I used to sit in my nan's kitchen, set up just like pots and pans, and she'd give me 2 wooden spoons, and I'd sit there, cross my legs, and I'd just make patterns and rhythms. And I think from a young age, you know, that may be a nightmare to some parents, giving their kids, you know, the potential to make such a racket.
Right.
But I think for me, you know, there was always some sort of rhythm inside there, and I just really wanted to kind of express that. So I think kind of moving forward and, you know, playing in those bands when I was younger, and, you know, fronting bands and just playing drums and just meeting people and kind of building up this little like family. I think that's always something I've really, really loved. And then I was like, you know what? I want to write my own songs. And you can't show up to a gig with a set of drumsticks and be like, yeah, wrote this song at home. I don't have a band. It's just going to be me blast beating on drums, and I'm going to sing about my feelings. But I was like, you know what? So I picked up the guitar, and I feel like it's kind of became an extension of what I'm doing as a folk artist.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just my arms, and then it's my guitar, and it's...
And is that something that you self-taught to play guitar, or did you take lessons?
Yeah, so I did lessons for a little bit, mainly just like YouTube. I watch a lot of the great folk singers and stuff. I'd slow down their videos of them finger picking. I learned how to finger pick watching Ron Hines videos.
Really?
Yeah, there's some real great captured sessions of him playing. And I was like, okay, I can get a good like 10 seconds and I can kind of see what he's doing and how his, you know, fingers kind of interact with the strings. So that was pretty much a self-taught thing.
That's really amazing. That's talent.
Thank you.
So what do you think? So I'm sure you have a lot of fans now that look up to you. What do you think would be the best advice that you can give your young fans if they wanted to follow in your footsteps and get into the music industry?
I think just from a young age, like go out and start a band with your friends. I think there's no better thing than getting into that when you're a kid.
Right.
It was a little bit tough for me because there was nobody really my age playing. But I got connected with some kids who were a little bit older who have, you know, still playing bands back home. And I think I was maybe, you know, grade 2 and they were in grade 6. And I was like, you know, let's just get together and jam. And I think at the end of the day, music's music. And there's nothing, you know, hanging out with older kids doing it. At the end of the day, we're still just creating. So I think just go out and just start a band with your friends and just start creating, make, you know, at the end of the day, it's just sound and then it's gone. So go out and make as much sound as you can. Yeah.
Awesome. And looking towards the future, where do you hope to see yourself in the next 10 years?
I'm really hoping to kind of build up my resume as a touring artist. So I guess coming to these type of things is a great chance to kind of get your feet wet in a new market. But I'm thinking just keep touring, try the Atlantic circuit next summer's a real big thing that I'm going to do. And yeah, I think just building up an audience and kind of sharing my stories, hopefully across Canada. And yeah.
And I suppose the more that you travel and the more new people you meet and new places that you explore, that's going to give you more inspiration and creativity.
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
And speaking of that, you're playing a song for us today, correct?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So this is a song that I wrote a little while ago. It's called Twice a Child. And at the Music NL Week they held it in St. John's. Greg Wells, who's a fantastic producer, and I'm actually super lucky. I'm working with him on my next record.
Excellent.
So we're gonna get hopefully a killer indie folk record out of it. He delivered a keynote speech, and it was maybe an hour long, but there was one little section that he dove in on called The Power of Play. And this was his approach to making music. He said, you know, I have a bunch of young children. Inspiration is never a thing that, you know, kind of runs dry in this household. Because he said, you watch a 5-year-old run around, he said, their whole world is just imagination.
Right.
So I said, you know, And his approach to making music in this, in this speech, he said, it's just a very playful state. Never listen to stuff that you don't understand and try to understand it. Mm-hmm. And really, go back to the reasons, why you fell in love with it to begin with. So I kind of told this story about how important it is to kind of keep that power of play in every little aspect of your life, kind of, mm-hmm. Right from the time that you're a young child to you're on your last breath, and kind of how important that is to know that you feel like you've done enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Darcy. I'm looking forward to hearing your song.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
8 years old and full of piss, cap gun hanging on the side of his hip, dirty shoes and grass-stained jeans, hanging on the edge of a world so mean. Growing up in a one-church town, you learn to swim or you learn to drown. You make it out or stick around, or else your dreams won't make a sound. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, I'm praying. Time starts catching up if you stop playing. Once a man, twice a child, that goes without saying. I'm just saying. 40 years of pushing broom, 25 years of loving you. On a beat-down couch one Saturday, when 40 seems so far away. There's nothing wrong with growing old. I got a head full of wisdom and a heart of gold. There's a little aching in my bones, but the wolves are finally leaving me alone. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, I'm praying. Time starts catching up if you stop playing. Once a man, twice a child, that goes without saying. I'm just saying. Electric bed becomes the space where I let go of this place. I can say goodbye, my kids are grown. They'll be alright, 'cause now they know. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, I'm praying. Time starts catching up if you stop playing. Once a man, twice a child, that goes with